You know those moments when you are doing absolutely nothing important, maybe just sitting on the couch scrolling or waiting for water to boil, and something tiny stirs inside your chest. It is not stress, not excitement either. It feels more like a soft tap on the shoulder from the inside, a gentle reminder that you almost miss. These moments slip in during the most ordinary parts of the day. You are tying your shoes, rinsing a coffee mug, watching someone walk their dog past your window. Suddenly everything inside you stills for half a second. In that half second you realize you have forgotten something. Not your keys, not a meeting, something deeper, a part of who you really are. This feeling is not new and it is not complicated. You do not need years of meditation retreats to find it. It is more like a song you knew as a kid that got buried under grown-up noise. You were born knowing the melody. The people we look up to, the ones who stayed steady when everything around them fell apart, they were not superhuman. They simply refused to ignore that soft tap. They gave it a moment of attention instead of brushing it off. That is the whole difference. Every single day they carved out a brief window, sometimes no more than a couple of minutes, to come back to themselves. Not to analyze, not to fix anything, just to listen. If you are here watching this, that same tap is probably showing up again. Maybe it is quieter than it used to be, but it is also clearer. You do not have to figure out what it wants right this second. All you need to know is what its presence really means. You are ready to remember who you were before the world got so loud. Your life is not shaped by the big dramatic moments everyone posts about. It is shaped by thousands of tiny ones nobody sees. The way you react to a text that annoys you, the 3 extra minutes you spend worrying instead of breathing, the split second you choose to scroll instead of close your eyes and check in with yourself. Those are the moments that actually decide where you end up. Most of us live like we are passengers. Life happens and we just react. But the people who feel truly free have figured out something different. They know the future grows out of whatever their mind keeps pointing toward. Your attention is the steering wheel, even when you forget you are holding it. It sounds too simple to be true, but that is why it works. Think about the last time you felt stuck. You probably blamed money, your job, other people. Be honest for a second. What was your mind actually doing all day? Replaying the same complaints, imagining worst-case scenarios, comparing yourself to everyone else. You kept feeding those thoughts with your attention, and life kept delivering more of the same. Not because the universe is mean, because that is how attention works. It is quiet rocket fuel. Picture walking across an open park. If you lean even slightly to the left for 10 straight minutes, you end up in a completely different corner of the park without ever noticing the shift. That is exactly what happens inside your head every single day. The wisest people never tried to force life into shape. They just came back to center. A quick reset where the noise cannot reach. From that place, everything looks different, and decisions make themselves. 2 minutes a day is enough to change the lean. You face scarcity, and suddenly you only see problems. You face calm, and suddenly you see options you swore were not there yesterday. The park stays the same size. Only the direction you are subtly pointing changes. That is the secret nobody puts on a billboard. Real change is not about willpower or 5-year plans. It is about noticing where your attention rests and gently nudging it somewhere kinder. Do that often enough, and the whole scenery of your life starts rearranging itself without you having to push. We all assume real change has to feel huge. New job, new city, new morning routine with 20 steps and a gratitude journal the size of a phone book. We wait for the perfect thunderbolt moment. But life almost never works that way. The shifts that actually rewrite everything are so small you almost miss them. Imagine you are on a boat drifting down a wide river. One tiny turn of the rudder looks like nothing in the first 30 seconds. Give it 3 minutes, and the boat is already aimed at a different bank. No drama, no engine roar, just one precise, gentle adjustment. That is exactly what 2 minutes of stillness does for the rest of your day, and eventually for the rest of your life. The second your eyes open in the morning, your brain starts its usual playlist. Yesterday's argument, the email you forgot to send, the bill that is due, the body part you wish looked different. It is automatic. You did not press play, yet there it is, running the show, before coffee even hits your system. By 8 a.m., you are already exhausted and the day has not really started. Sound familiar? The people who seem calm and clear all the time are not fighting that playlist into silence. They are not stronger or more disciplined than you. They just know how to hit pause long enough for a different station to come in. 2 minutes is all it takes for the static to drop and the signal to get strong again. Why only 2 minutes? Because your brain loves to negotiate. Tell it 10 minutes and it instantly screams, you do not have 10 minutes, you are too busy, you will do it tomorrow. 2 minutes is shorter than most songs on Spotify. 2 minutes is brushing your teeth plus 30 extra seconds. 2 minutes slips right under the radar of every excuse. It is like standing too close to a painting in a museum. Everything is a blurry mess of color. Take one half step back and suddenly the whole image clicks into focus. You do not repaint the canvas. You just change where you are standing. 2 minutes is that half step. You do not have to sit cross-legged or burn incense or clear your mind of every thought. You just stop moving for a couple of breaths. That is it. In that tiny gap, you suddenly notice how much noise you have been carrying that does not even belong to you. The gap is small, but it is enough. The river starts turning. Tell me in the comments, when was the last time you gave yourself even 30 seconds of real stillness? Most of us cannot remember. That is why 2 minutes feels revolutionary. If I had to pick one image that perfectly captures what happens in those 2 minutes, it would be an old art restoration studio tucked in the back of a museum, not the bright galleries out front where everyone takes selfies. I mean the quiet room nobody sees, lit by soft lamps, smelling faintly of cotton cloths and patience. Someone sits at a wooden table, wearing cotton gloves, working on a painting that has not been truly seen in 100 years. That painting is you. Over the years, dust has settled. Not just ordinary dust, dust made of deadlines, arguments you still replay at 2 a.m., expectations you never asked for, heartbreak you thought you moved past, comparisons that sneak in every time you open Instagram. Layer after layer, until the colors you started with are barely visible. You still function. You still laugh and pay bills and show up for people. But somewhere along the way, you stop recognizing the person in the mirror. There is a studio exactly like that inside every single one of us. A back room where the original version of you is still hanging on the wall, untouched. The reds are still red. The blues are still deep. The light in the eyes is still there. It never left. It just got covered. 2 minutes of real stillness is you finally walking back into that room and switching on the lamp. You are not marching in with a bucket and a scrub brush, determined to fix everything today. You are not trying to repaint yourself into someone calmer or wiser or more successful. You are just coming home to look. That is all. A real restorer never attacks the canvas. They start by doing almost nothing. They sit, they breathe, they let their eyes adjust to the dim light. Then they take the softest cloth and touch one tiny corner, so gently you would miss it if you blinked. One corner is enough for today. Tomorrow they will come back and touch another. The painting does not mind waiting. It knows the colors are still underneath. Your inner world works the same way. You sit down, maybe on the edge of your bed after turning off the alarm, maybe in the car before walking into work, maybe on the bathroom floor because it is the only place the kids will not find you for 90 seconds. You close your eyes. You do not try to empty your head. You just stop adding new dust for 2 minutes. That is the first gentle pass of the cloth. In that short window, you suddenly notice how heavy the layers have become. The voice that says you are behind, the memory of someone who hurt you, the worry about money that follows you like a shadow. They are all just dust. They feel solid only because you have been breathing them in every day without realizing it. When you stop feeding the dust for even 2 minutes, something shifts. You feel the weight lift a little. Not because anything outside changed, because you finally stepped far enough back to see the whole canvas again. And there it is. The version of you that still knows how to laugh without checking who is watching. The version that feels things deeply without drowning in them. The version that trusts life even when the evidence looks shaky. That version never went anywhere. It was just waiting for the light to come back on. 2 minutes is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you already are underneath all the noise. So tomorrow morning, before you grab your phone, before you start the mental to-do list, give the studio 2 minutes, walk in, turn on the lamp. Look at the painting without trying to fix it yet. Just look. The most breathtaking moment in any restoration studio is not when the last speck of grime comes off. It is the instant the light finally hits the clean section and the colors wake up. A red that looked dead suddenly burns warm again. A blue you thought was gray turns deep and alive. The painting does not get louder. It just remembers how bright it always was. That is what starts happening to your life after a few weeks of giving yourself those 2 minutes. The first thing that changes is never the outside stuff. Your inbox is still chaotic, the rent is still due, that one coworker still talks in meetings like he is solving world hunger. Nothing there moves yet. What moves is the lens you are looking through. The dust is thinner, so the light gets in. Suddenly, the same circumstances do not feel as heavy. The same problems still exist, but they stop feeling like proof that you are failing. You start seeing in true color again. A conversation that used to leave you rattled now lands softer. A delay that normally sent you spiraling just gets a shrug and a deep breath. You are not suppressing anything. You are just no longer adding extra layers of story on top of what is actually happening. People think real clarity takes decades of therapy or silent retreats in the mountains. It does not. You cannot see your reflection in churning water. Stop stirring for 2 minutes, and the surface settles just enough for your real face to show up. That is it. No advanced degree required. The biggest shifts never feel like earthquakes. They feel like someone quietly unfolded a map you had been holding upside down for years. One small correction at the center, and every road suddenly leads somewhere different. You stop trying to control every detail, because you finally trust the part of you that can see the whole map. Decisions get lighter. You say no when you mean no. You say yes when it actually feels right in your body, not just in your head. Life stops feeling like a constant battle to stay afloat. And here is the quiet miracle nobody warns you about. Once the inner light is steady again, the outer world starts matching it without you forcing anything. Opportunities you swore were never coming show up. People treat you differently because you are carrying yourself differently. Not because you are pretending. Because the dust is gone and they can finally see you. 2 minutes a day. That is all it ever took to let the light back in. After a while, those 2 minutes stop feeling like a practice you have to remember. They turn into something as automatic as locking the door when you leave the house, or taking a deep breath before you answer a tense text. Your body starts asking for them the way it asks for water when you are thirsty. You do not set another alarm or put a sticky note on your mirror anymore. The pause just shows up on its own. Usually right when you need it most. You are in the middle of a heated argument, and suddenly there is a tiny gap between the words flying at you and the heat rising in your chest. Half a second of space. That is new. Someone cuts you off in traffic and your usual explosion does not come. Instead, your shoulders drop and you notice the sky looks ridiculously blue today. That is new too. You hear bad news and your stomach still flips, but you do not spiral for the rest of the day. You feel it, you name it, and somehow it moves through you instead of moving in permanently. That tiny gap is everything. It is the difference between reacting and choosing. From that gap, your actions start to change without any dramatic vows or vision boards. You stop saying yes when your whole body is screaming no. You walk away from conversations that only exist to feed someone else's ego. You put the phone down at dinner because being present suddenly feels better than being right. It is not that you become perfect. You still lose your temper sometimes, still check your email at red lights, still eat the entire bag of chips when you swore you would not. The difference is you catch yourself faster. You laugh at yourself instead of hating yourself. You get back to the 2 minutes and the canvas keeps getting clearer. Life stops feeling like you are constantly bracing for the next hit. It starts feeling like you are steering again, gently, without white-knuckling the wheel. And the best part? It keeps getting easier. The gap keeps getting wider. The light keeps getting stronger. The real you keeps showing up more often, until one day you realize you are not practicing anymore. One day you wake up and notice something strange. There is space inside you that was not there before. Not dramatic, not a fireworks kind of feeling. More like someone quietly moved the furniture while you were sleeping, and suddenly the room feels twice as big. You can breathe all the way down to the bottom of your lungs without hitting a wall of tension. You did not earn it with a grand epiphany. It just appeared once, enough layers had thinned. That space changes everything. The same situations still show up, the difficult co-worker still talks too loud, the bank account still dips lower than you like, your mum still says that one thing that used to send you straight into a 3-day mood. But now they land differently. They hit the space instead of hitting you. Anger still visits, but it does not move in. Sadness still knocks, but it does not get the whole guest room anymore. Worry still whispers, but you hear it from across the room instead of inside your ear. You are not numb. You feel everything, sometimes more sharply than before. The difference is you are no longer fused with it. There is you, and there is the feeling, and there is room between. That room is freedom. You start responding instead of reacting. Someone raises their voice, and you notice your heart rate barely moves. A plan falls apart, and you feel the sting. Then you feel something else underneath. Curiosity about what wants to happen next. You stop explaining yourself to people who never listened anyway. You stop auditioning for approval from rooms you already left. It is the quietest kind of strength. It does not flex or announce itself. It just holds steady while everything else swirls. You walk into meetings calmer. You listen to your kids without already planning your reply. You sit in traffic and notice the trees instead of rehearsing arguments you will never have. You go to sleep without the nightly committee meeting in your head. People start asking what changed. You look different. They say, lighter, more you. You shrug because you do not have a dramatic story. You just spent a few months giving yourself 2 minutes a day to come home. That is all. The space keeps growing. Some mornings it feels like a whole sky opened up inside your chest. Not loud, not flashy, just open. And from that open place you realize the heaviness you carried for years was never the weight of life itself. It was the weight of forgetting there was room to put it down. By now those 2 minutes are no longer something you do. They are simply the moment you come home. Some days you sit on the couch with your coffee still warm. Some days you lean against the kitchen counter while the kettle boils. Some days you only manage 3 slow breaths in the car before picking up the kids. None of it has to look spiritual. The door still opens. You are allowed to have days when your mind races like a toddler on sugar. You are allowed to forget entirely and only remember at 11 p.m. while brushing your teeth. The studio inside you never closes for bad behavior. It just waits, lamp on, ready for whenever you walk back in. What you will notice is that you are living from a cleaner place. You react less and choose more. You waste less energy on fights that do not matter. Kindness comes easier because there is finally room for it. Intuition shows up like an old friend who never really left. You just stopped listening for the knock. You do not become flawless. You still snap when you are hungry, still doom scroll when you are tired, still cry in the shower sometimes. The difference is the background tone of your days has shifted. The default setting is no longer tension. The default is space. 2 minutes a day turned out to be the gentlest revolution possible. Not because they added anything new, but because they let you subtract what was never yours to carry. So if you are wondering when to start, the answer is now, right now. Put the phone down, close your eyes for 4 slow breaths, and step inside. That is enough. The light is already on. The canvas is already beautiful. You do not have to fix a thing. Just come home. The rest of your life will take care of itself from there.